Welcome to He Did This to Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Knicks, Mets, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. The New York Mets swept the Washington Nationals today in their 3-game set. They moved to 47 and 45, 2 games above 500, 3 more left against the Rockies before we get into the All-Star break. And they sit currently in the 3rd wild card spot, just a game behind St. Louis and 4.5 games behind the Braves for the first wild card spot. Talk to me, big guy. How we feeling about those Mets?
Look, what a difference a month makes. It's amazing. If you look at this podcast a month or 6 weeks ago, holy smokes, we were ready to jump off a bridge. So, yeah, very excited about what we're seeing with the Mets. Have to be happy with that. Lindor continues to rip it. Other guys, even with JD going into a slump, we're still able to keep our heads above water. Randle and Nimmo has been nothing short of amazing. His power surge continues. And then the other guys, man, Vientos. I mean, come on, man. That guy's a player, man. He smokes the ball every time he hits it. Iglesias, come on. Oh, my God. Let's go. That guy is amazing. And, his hitting against left-handed pitching, I mean, come on, man. He's batting like 390, 380 something against left-handed pitching. There's no reason he should not be in the game if it's a left-handed starter. Okay, that's a fact. I mean, obviously they realize that. And listen, the starting pitching has been great, has been fantastic. We've, really come around on that. Now we just need to get better in our bullpen, back end, most importantly. And I think we're moving in the right direction. Hopefully, it can continue. As we know, as we just stated, a month can change everything in baseball. So, we got to keep moving and stay smart and, don't lose too much in the All-Star break or lose our gusto, our zest.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's funny because JD has been kind of falling off. And then in these these last 2 days, it looks like he's starting to right the ship. It's almost kind of weird when you see that guy look lost at the plate because he seems like such a professional hitter. But, in the last 2 games against the Nats, he had 2 hits in each game, had a double in the finale of the series. And he looks like he's starting to get it figured out, had a big RBI hit as well. And, getting really aggressive on the bases. That first to third, listen. Wow. You get thrown out right there, and everybody's screaming. You got an outfielder with a strong arm. He ends up making him have to make the play. The throw is a little bit offline. He has the slide, and he's able to get in there. And, man, the thing about this team is especially with the additions of Vientos and Alvarez and JD Martinez, those other 2 guys compared to what they were last year, JD obviously being somebody that we brought in new, our lineup is so much longer now. Mm-hmm. It's so much longer now. And, you can have Pete and JD scuffling a little bit, but then you have other guys picking it up and getting you the production that you need. It's really been a great thing to watch the way that we've been not only getting runs, but tacking on runs late, especially with our bullpen situation. There's been some games where, you might be up 6-1 or 7-2, and you end up scoring another run or 2, and, you win 8-6 or you win 7-5, and it ends up being the difference. So we got to continue to tack on the runs. And I thought today especially was a huge game, because I thought it was a huge start for Peterson. Peterson's got a little bit of momentum going. He's had some good starts going. He's having the best, half of a season that he's ever had, especially since he's come back from the injury. And it was very important that he came out, gave us a solid, outing, and we were able to get this sweep, because now we play one of the worst teams in baseball. I think Colorado has the 3rd worst record, and we have a chance if we can at least get 2 out of 3, or, imagine if we went ahead and swept them as well. We go into the All-Star break feeling really positive about ourselves and, really looking forward to this second half. When you look at that, even when we were saying, hey, we're only like 3.5 down, when you looked at that wild card race, we were still low in that bunch. Now we've gotten to the point where we're actually in a wild card spot. We're on the top of that overall race and what it looks like. And at the end of the day, man, you know, like I've always said, they've given us something to pay attention to during the dog days of summer. And this team, you gotta love what they're doing. Nimmo, yo,
wow.
This whole transformation that we're seeing, this new elite version of Nimmo, where he's not just up there hunting walks and being an on-base guy, but he's actually out here, you know, driving in runs and being a producer. It's fantastic. And it takes our team to a totally different level. Okay. He is the quintessential number 2 hitter in today's baseball. He sees a lot of pitches, but he gets up there when it's time to do damage and he looks for his pitch. He hit a home run on 3-0 the other day. Today he came in this guy for this guy now, of course, it's Barnes, I think. Who was the Nats pitcher today? Anyway, he had just walked a couple guys, and then Nimmo comes up. He throws a ball way outside of the zone to get to 1-0 against Nimmo. The old Nimmo, that next pitch with the bases loaded, especially, his mindset would be, I need to make this guy at least throw a strike. Instead, his mindset now is, this guy needs to throw a strike, and I'm going to hammer it. And that's exactly what he did to the opposite field gap, brought in all 3 of those runs, emptied the bases, and you know, he's just been fantastic, man. It's been great to see. It's been great to see Lindor continue to do his thing. And like you said, the energy overall and just the way this team feels is so much different than it was last year and different than it was early on this year.
Nimmo, I found it very interesting yesterday when they were talking during the game about how he decided to change things up because he was getting great exit velocity when he would hit the ball, but it was all going ground balls. Did you hear him talking about that?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was very insightful, and that how he just worked with his hitting coach to get more air under the ball, to get it up in the air because he felt like that exit velocity would get him over the fence, which it clearly has. The guy is fantastic, man. I've loved Brandon Nimmo since he first came up, as you know. And the whole thing about with J.D. Martinez when he was running for third base, I was like, you know, holding my breath. But it was very exciting. And he did a smart move there because he made the guy have to make the perfect throw. You know, I'm a big proponent of that. Make him make the throw. In fact, I think it was the inning before where we could have come in from third and we didn't, and we ended up stranding a man at third. I think
Vientos would have been gunned right there. The only third baseman I've ever seen that's slower than Vientos is Wilmer Flores.
Yeah, he's pretty slow. But the guy would have had to make the right throw, and I'm always willing to take a shot that the guy makes a bad throw or the guy the catcher tries to tag too soon. I'm always a proponent, but you're right. He would have been gunned. I like that Martinez did that when he did. And, you know, I'm very excited for what we see. My man Nunez still doing the right thing on the mound. You know, Sugar's got to pick it up. He's got to tighten up his game, man. I mean, you know, this thing about like giving up walks and stupid runs, you know, and letting games get tied. I mean, come on, man. We can't have that. So I'm hoping he picks it up. And, you know, I think we could make some noise here in the second half. It's going to be interesting to see. I'd love to catch the Braves, of course.
Love to catch the Braves.
Braves are here this weekend in Phoenix.
They just were here.
Well, they're here tonight. I know because I was speaking to somebody today.
Oh, okay. Because I was in downtown a couple of days ago, seeing off my guy James, who's actually a Braves fan. And as I was in downtown, I noticed that there was a bunch of people walking around in Braves jerseys, and so that was on Monday. So I guess today. I guess it was a 4-game set, and today's the last day.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, listen, man, we have nothing but reason to be excited. Senga getting ready to come back. That's going to be huge. Marte will come back soon, you know, probably in another 3 weeks. I did just read that he needs a little more time. So that'll be exciting too. We've got a lot going on with the Mets right now that's exciting. Right now, I cannot see how we would be sellers, especially if we're bringing in these relief pitches. What are we doing that for? If you know, so I'm thinking that Stearns is either going to either stand pat or pick somebody up. Let's go. Let's move forward with that. You know, I can't sell any of our good guys right now.
No, not going to be sellers. But what I think Stearns will do is he will most likely, you know, look to make some solid moves, but obviously no big splashes because he's not going to want to just deplete our farm system. And I was I was on Talking Mets with Rob, with him and my guy CP earlier doing a post game, and I was pointing out to them the fact that we have a good problem when it comes to our pitching situation, both starters and relievers. We have Senga coming back. We go to the 6-man rotation at that point. Okay. When we go to the 6-man rotation, you have Severino, Senga, Scott, Manaya, Quintana, Peterson. And then you take Manaya when you get to the postseason, hopefully. You put him in the bullpen. That gives you another lefty arm. You're not going to use a 6-man rotation. You might not even use a 5-man rotation in the postseason. And then you have your pick of who's pitching well at the moment, and then somebody else might be able to help out of the pen as well. All of those people coming back, that just is going to slot everybody into an extra, the next slot, and just make that entire pitching staff that much stronger. Or should I say, just Senga coming back is going to do that. And then also, we just go out there and we go and we make the trade with Tampa Bay. We get this guy Maton, who looked fantastic today. He also has great. He has a great postseason history as a pitcher out of the pen with the Astros, and he was unhittable in his last 12 innings. I think he gave up one hit or maybe one run with Tampa Bay before we went out and got him. Very underrated move. That's what this guy does. In Stearns, yeah. Look at Torrens. We paid $100,000 for Torrens. Torrens is like the best backup catcher in the major leagues. He throws at everybody. 7 of 10. He is with throwing out base runners, and he seems to be in the middle of a rally every time he plays. I mean, this guy. Oh, come on, man! It's like, how much better is he than Thomas Nito?
Oh my God, yes. I love this guy Tyrone Taylor too. Great
Tyrone Triple, as you call him, right?
Tyrone Triples. I mean, that guy, I love watching him run the bases, man. And when he's tugging for third, I'm standing up, go, 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 go. So he's an exciting player, and he's a very good fielder. He's very fast out there, and he goes after the ball, man. I love it.
Yeah, and, when it comes to the overall energy of the team, first and foremost, obviously, you have to give credit to Mendoza. That was the talk of him when we hired him, that, he's got an infectious energy. He's just a true baseball guy. It's all he cares about, and he really does, you could see it. He exudes something, and his team has a little something. Last year, everybody talked about how toxic it was when, with some people talk about Scherzer and Verlander and just in general that it wasn't a great clubhouse. And this year, it seems the exact opposite. First and foremost, we got to give that credit to Mendoza. Then you got to look at the two Franciscos. Both of those great energy guys. Lindor, as we know, Mr. Smile. He's been fantastic this entire year, even when things weren't going well, just as far as the overall vibe that he gives off. And then we've seen, since Alvarez has come back, the not only the production on the field, but it's clear the type of energy that he breathes into this team. And then after that, Iglesias, man, this is the thing. A couple things about Iglesias. First and foremost, hitting against lefties, he has to be in. I found it very interesting that the Mets came out and said that he was going to start today, but he didn't because he was under the weather. He had he had some sort of bug, some sort of illness. McNeil against Barnes. Barnes was the pitcher, by the way. Against the pitcher today, McNeil was 7 for 9. I'm sorry, Gore is his name. Gore, against Gore, he was 7 for 9 in his career, and he was still about to be on the bench. Wow. I think it's Iglesias is becoming the everyday second baseman for the Mets. Like that is becoming what it is. I mean, he's got fantastic hands. He's and the energy, man. I mean, not only is he getting hits, making all the plays, but he slides in the home, he jumps up, he pumps his fist, and a guy that he reminds me of, going back to the Mets of 2007, he reminds me of Jose Valentin. The guy who had been around, second baseman, and comes in. He's a good fielder, and just always seemed like he was in the middle of all of the rallies of that team. And he didn't even have a hit single to perform post game like our guy Iglesias does. So I just think he's been super important, and I hope to see him playing more and more. And the question I do got to ask, what I was thinking about before when I said Barnes, Jeremy Barnes, guy who's gotten a lot of flack. For me and for many other people, you don't even know who he is.
I don't.
He's the hitting coach for the Mets. And he's the
Oh,
guy who's been working with Nimmo for the last 3 years to get him to be more of a producer as opposed to just an on-base percentage guy. And, maybe we got to give this guy some credit. He's a little bit more the school of thought of, hey, we need to drive the ball. We need to hit it in the air. Chavez is a little bit more the school of thought that we need to make contact and go the opposite way. It seems like right now we have found a happy medium. And I just, as much I've given Barnes some flack before, so I do want to give him some credit for what he's done here recently. And, when it comes to Mendoza, similar to like what we're talking about with Barnes, people in the last week, they criticize his bullpen moves. There's even been a couple that I didn't agree with in the moment, not just looking at it with revisionist history and playing on the outcome. But at the end of the day, you got to take a step back and look at it, with a wide view and look at the macro instead of the micro sometimes, because as you've always told me, it's easy to play the results. But when you really look at it from the beginning of the season, what the expectations were, where we were at one point to where we are now, Mendoza's done a really good job.
No doubt about it, man. And like I always tell you, baseball managers have a thankless job when it comes to second guessing. People second guess them all the time. And like I say, we watch certain games and we say, oh, he shouldn't do this. He shouldn't take Christian Scott out the game. And yeah, I agree. I would have loved to keep Christian Scott in the game. But, if Christian Scott pitches another 25 pitches and his arm starts hurting the next day and he goes out with elbow problems, why did you keep him in there those extra 30 pitches?
Real quick on Scott.
It's thankless.
100%. And real quick on Scott, I thought this was really interesting. I saw it a couple days ago. The most innings he's ever pitched in a season prior to this season are 87.2.
Right.
So you can't have this guy can't throw 200 innings this year. That just can't happen.
They don't stretch these guys out at all in the minor leagues. Like Darling was saying the other day, he had 2 years in a row in the minors where he pitched 150 innings. And nobody does that anymore. So they're not ready when they come to the pros to pitch that much. So, it's a different game. I was hearing where, what's his name? The guy from Pittsburgh, Skeens today, had a no-hitter through 7, and they took him out of the game. Now,
yep.
I'd rather see him leave that guy in the game. Okay? He's young. He's 21, 22 years old. Let's go.
The manager said it wasn't about pitches. I saw that earlier that he said it wasn't about the quantity of pitches. It was about the matchup, which I think is crazy. I don't even know what that
means. That's insane.
I don't think it's real. I think that's bullshit. I think he's just
that makes zero sense. And I don't know how much were they ahead by at the time.
I'm not sure exactly what the score was at the time.
But if they had a nice lead, that's crazy talk. What you just said. But who knows? If I'd been watching and he'd been pitching for the Mets, I'd have been screaming. But listen, I do get it to a point. This guy ends up doing Tommy John surgery afterwards. Then everybody's blaming the manager. Just right. Like a lot of people were upset with Johan Santana when he stayed in the game to get the perfect game. Things went a little south for him after that. A lot of people were upset.
Well, he was post Tommy John at that point.
He was what?
He'd already had a Tommy John at that point.
I know, but he fell off after that, Nick. And a lot of people felt like
I remember.
You should have left him in the game.
You
should have left him in the game. It was a chance for a perfect game. Come on.
Well, it was a no-hitter, not a perfect game. But
I'm sorry, no-hitter.
I was in the camp that Johan should have come out of that game, especially with how much we had invested in him, dollars and cents wise. You don't want these guys' arm, and that's exactly what happened. His arm pretty much fell off after that. So I was in that camp then, and it was like, he labored through that. I forget exactly how many pitches though, but it was like 120, 130, some shit like that.
Yeah, okay. Great.
I don't know, man. I do think that it's a very weird thing that happens with pitchers today. Some people say that they specialize and they pitch too much when they're young, and then that's too taxing on the arm. But then then there's other people that say that they don't throw enough when they're in the minors. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but the way that these guys get injured, is it just that they're putting too much into every single pitch? I don't know. And obviously nobody does, because if there was one team that had figured it out, everybody else would copy them and do the same thing. And it's an epidemic across all of baseball. But hopefully Christian Scott can have an impact this year, and obviously we can not put him in harm's way. I think it's important that we have both Hauser and Buto, guys that can go long, and they're going to be, asked to go long because of the babying of Christian Scott. And Christian Scott, I love his stuff. I love what I love his stuff. I like his overall moxie and his demeanor and the way he carries himself out there. Expecting big things out of him, and if he can, hit a new gear in this second half, and we can get Senga back, who has looked very good in his 2 rehab starts thus far. We could really, really do something, man. We're 2 games over 500. If we can, figure out a way to at least win this 2 out of 3 against the Rockies, we go into the All-Star break, an All-Star break that should include Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo. And if we can figure out a way to get 2 out of 3 here, everybody feels real good about themselves going into the break.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Lindor and Nimmo get a shot here in the All-Star game. I mean, Pete, I actually think Pete is the least deserving of all 3 of those guys.
I don't understand how Pete's the one that got in. Because you
live on fumes. You live on fumes. And is it all voting?
No, it's not all voting. No, and he wasn't voted. He wasn't voted in as the starter. So that means he was chosen.
So right, but the other managers or whoever are making this decision, he's living on reputation, But then again, Lindor should be getting in on reputation.
Hey, listen, Lindor's fielding at the plate. He's absolutely positively an all-star. I just don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about that. And, the numbers support it. And Nimmo as well. I mean, and Nimmo, like the best number is WAR and F-WAR. And if you ask me to explain the equation of how they come up with that, I could not tell you. But what I do know is they say it's like one of the best metric to measure a player. It includes defense and all of that. And Lindor and Nimmo are both at the top of their class at their respective positions when it comes to those metrics. I don't understand how they don't make it. I mean, maybe not starters, but at the end of the day, there's a good chance one of them will get in. Somebody always ends up dropping out. I saw Altuve just dropped out. I think Tatis Jr., he'll probably not. They're saying that he might not participate. So I could see one of them still getting in. And if I had to go with one of them, it would be Lindor because of what he does in the field.
Yeah, and batting leadoff, doing what he's done, leadoff through this whole resurgence. I think he'll find a way to get in, and you know how I feel about Pete in the home run derby, but they're doing the home run derby a little different this year. They're slowing it down because they felt like guys were swinging so much fast, repetitively, that they could hurt themselves, like a rotator cuff or something. So I like it better that they're slowing it down. I personally don't know. Does Pete really deserve to be in the home run derby this year? I don't know.
He's got 18 or 19. He's top 10, I would say, probably. Listen, I'm happy that Pete is in it. And the reason that I'm happy is if you look at him historically, he typically comes out of, it's not David Wright, okay, where he goes in there and then he goes in the tank for the rest of the season. He typically comes out and he does a pretty good job of getting hot right after the home run derby. He's actually 15th right now with 18 home runs. He's going in there. Now, he's a guy, it's his 5th time doing it. He's already won it twice. It makes sense to have him in there, okay?
Sure.
And he, obviously playing for a New York team and all of that. But to me, that's one of the theories that I floated in the post-game pod I did earlier. I said, Pete's about to get hot because he goes into the derby and then he gets hot. That's been his trend previously. Hopefully he gets a pitcher that's not throwing him slide pieces the entire time, so he actually has a chance. But I think Lindor will get in. I think Nimmo is a long shot, but I'm hoping that Pete shows out in the derby and carries that right on into the rest of the season.
I'll be rooting for him. I mean, I just don't want him, You're right. He does well afterwards. I need to just drop all fears and just root him on.
Dude, the David Wright shit, man, it's still haunting you. It's still haunting you, man. It was a long time ago, man. It's a different guy.
All right. I'll get over it.
If you're feeling the content or you think we are two loathsome, offensive brutes and yet you can't look away, give us a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Make sure you subscribe and or hit that notification button on YouTube or wherever you're listening. Make sure you hit that like button and then give us a subscribe. New York Knicks introduced Mikal Bridges this week. Mikal said all the right things in front of the media. I saw some other photos. It looks like he got in the gym and got some shot ups right afterwards. You had Tibbs in his Versace $500 shoes posing for photo ops. What did you think of the overall press conference? And, now that we're a little bit further removed, are you still feeling as excited about the Knicks acquiring Mikal Bridges?
1,000%, man. 1,000%. I'm still happy. I'm even happier. Mikal Bridges is going to make a big difference with this team. Presser was good. He's a smart young man. He handles himself well in front of the press.
First presser we've done in a while.
Right. We don't even usually introduce the new players. They just show up, which is fine with me. I don't care about any of that. Keep making smart moves. I think that it went well. I think that, like I said, he's going to be a plus for us no matter what. I think it's insane, if I could just slightly get tangential here, that I think, and some would consider this controversial, I don't know why, I think Mikal Bridges is going to be much better for us than Paul George will be for Philly. I think that's a better plus for us. Right. Some people would scream, oh, we should have gotten Paul George. I actually read that, and I was like, it blew my mind that anyone would think that. And especially for the money that this guy commanded, the last 2 years of that contract is going to be an absolute albatross. So I just think that, the Mikal Bridges signing is still one of the best signings of the offseason, no doubt about it. And I'm still totally non-concerned about what we gave up for Mikal Bridges. I think that was a smart move. I'd do that trade again and twice on Sunday.
As the GM for the Los Angeles Rams said a few years ago after they won the Super Bowl, and many people had criticized them for mortgaging their future to be able to bring in Matthew Stafford, among others. He then showed up in his press conference, or not the press conference. He got interviewed for something soon after they won the Super Bowl, and he had a mug, and on the mug it said, "Fuck those picks." Yeah, man, I don't give a fuck about them picks, yo. We got Mikal Bridges, and at the end of the day, he is the perfect fit in every single way. We have talked about that ad nauseum, so I won't rant about that right now. But yeah, man, I'm super excited to see what he can do, and super excited to see what we can do as far as defensively with these two wings that we have. It's like, when we got OG, we talked about how like our team got so much longer. Taking Bridges and putting him in place for Ragu is the same effect, just to the two guard instead of the three. And now at every position, we're not small anywhere. We're big everywhere. Julius is strong. The two wings are big. Brunson is, big body Brunson. And, with Mitch at the center, obviously, we're not lacking size there. So our team is long. We're going to be able to cause a ton of havoc. And the one thing that I noticed, I actually went back and rewatched the roommates episode with Mikal Bridges. And just because, I was just looking to see if there's anything I missed. And, I care more about him now than I did when I watched it originally. So I wanted to go back and watch it. And both in that and watching the press conference, he's got like a youthful, like exuberance to him, almost like a childlike quality, but it's endearing. It's not something where it's like you feel like he's immature or anything.
No.
And it's something that, I think it's nice to have a good balance and a good mix of, him. I think Mitch has got a little bit of that. It seems to me like Brunson, Julius, OG, these seem to be more serious types, and especially with OG, a more stoic type. So having a Josh Hart as a clown and having this guy Bridges, who's, got a little bit of, like I said, that youthful exuberance to him, I think that's a good thing, man. And, I'm excited to see how it's all going to play out. It cannot be October soon enough. And, I'm also excited to see what's going to happen here with Summer League. Summer League, this is the most intrigued I've been in Summer League in a while.
Yes. You heard Rokas definitely coming, Jacobitis. Yep. And then all the guys we just drafted. It should be a very exciting summer league. I don't know how all these guys, how it's all going to shake out, who's going to come with the big team in the fall. But yeah, I'll be tuning in Saturday for sure. And, it'll be an exciting summer league team without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, like, lineup wise, who starts. And then I'm also interested to just see these different guys play. I'm looking for huge performances out of Tyler Kolek. And then obviously my guy Pacom Dadier, who I'm super high on. I mean, I just keep every time I dig into something and or hear something or see something involving him, I love what I see and hear. And I'm really thinking that this kid's got a chance to make a make an impact on his team this year, especially if we sustain any injuries. It wouldn't be an NBA offseason as a Knicks fan if we weren't forced to talk about the annual rumors that Karl Anthony Towns is coveted by the Knicks and that the Knicks are interested in trading for him. I don't even want to get into this too much because we've talked about it plenty. We both are pro Julius over Cat. This rumor, I was actually watching the live pod. It was with CP the franchise. Shout out to my guy CP. He's he's the leader in this Knicks new sports media world. And actually Knicks Fans TV, they actually liked one of my posts the other day, I think on Instagram. But yeah, they were the first one. He was the first one to float it while talking to Ariel Helwani, the guy who is big in the combat sports world, but he's actually lives in Toronto, from Toronto, but he's a huge Knicks fan. Back when he was a kid, there was no such thing as the Raptors. Yeah, man, it seems like these rumors are never going to go away. I honestly, not only do I not think there's anything to it, I mean, I hope there's nothing to it, but I also just really don't think there is anything to it. And, I don't think this guy is built for New York. I don't think he's a better fit for our team. If anything, we have enough guys who, play on the perimeter, and we need more so a guy who can get us an easy bucket, especially close to the basket. And not only that, but demand attention and have a gravity and be able to move the ball, which I don't see Cat doing that as well. I got into arguments with a couple guys on Twitter this week that were trying to tell me, look at all the stats, and just saying like it's absurd to even consider that Julius is better than him and how much more efficient he is. In my opinion, when you talk like that, you immediately let me know that you don't know ball, okay? You don't know basketball, and you're a guy who you just read box scores and stats, and you play, NBA 2K, but you don't understand what really goes into this, because a lot of this inefficiency talk that you hear about Julius Randle is people thinking about a time when his second best player was Bullock and his point guard was Elfrid Payton and the offense was Julius, please do something for us. So, all right. I said I wasn't going to talk about it too much and I got off on a rant. What do you think about the Cat rumors?
It's annoying. Nick, I've gotten to the point where I just skip those articles. I don't even read them. When I see the headline, I keep it moving. One, I don't want it to happen. And two, I think the rumors are unfounded. It's just, as I was looking at something, the interview.
Did you see the clip of CP? Did you see the clip of the franchise talking about this? Did you see the clip?
I did not see the clip.
Just because, I mean, he seems like a guy who would be fairly plugged in, and he was saying it. He was like, listen, I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm telling you. And he's like, I'm telling you,
that a long time
they're
now.
Still interested in this guy. They're still interested in him. I'm telling you. He's like, I know that. Like, saying it very matter of factly.
Yeah, I don't listen, maybe I just doubt it because I don't want it to happen. Yeah, I don't think there's any comparison. And especially for our team, I think Julius is the right fit now. Like I said, he's going to be doing a lot of that high post stuff. What Julius will have to work on, and I'm sure Julius is not a foolish man. He's a smart man. He knows you're going to have to change up a little bit. Maybe, not so many passes to the shins at high speed with 3 seconds left on the clock. He's not
Macau can carry those, and the rest of the guys, the rest of those guys all learned how to catch those balls last year. I'm telling you.
But he's going to be making passes sooner, Nick, because he's going to have better people to pass it to.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He's not going to be going to them just because, okay, I can't get open, pull the parachute, boom, throw it to this guy. No, he's going to throw it to Mikal Bridges. He's going to throw it to OG. These guys, because these guys can make shots.
And he's going to be seeing less double teams.
That's right.
And we know, there's not too many people that can guard him one-on-one, especially if he catches it around like 18 feet and he can get you in that triple threat. Come on, man. If you don't get up on him, he's going to hit that shot. And if you get on him, it's bully ball, and he's going to see you at the rim.
And then Mikal Bridges thing, when you throw it out to him, he can put up the three, but he can also fake and put it on the ground and go to the hole on cats. Pull up, put a short mid-range or something in the lane. He's very good at that. Come on. I don't even think there's an issue here. Cat doesn't. He does. I'm sorry. I don't think he fits.
And I just don't think he has the mental makeup. Exactly. He does not have the mental makeup to play in New York. He does not.
He's got the ice cream interior right there. What an Iron Man thing is in his chest, it's made ice cream.
What do you think about the plan at center? Are you okay with us standing pat, or do you think we need to add somebody?
Oh, we definitely need to add somebody. I mean, we're going to add somebody, whether it be somebody good or not. What are you saying? That you go in with Mitch and what, Jericho? Come on, man. We need somebody else to be
Did
our
you see the
backup center.
videos of Jericho hitting jump shots, working out with Mike Bibby?
Yeah.
Jericho's ready,
Nobody
man.
else on the court. Listen, I read something today that if they could get this guy, I think it would be interesting because I loved him all season when he played against us. This guy, Sengun.
I know, Dad, but the thing about Sengun is,
no way we're getting
the price is too high. Listen,
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to center, I don't want Kessler. Okay, I don't want Kessler. I don't think he's that good, especially not for two. They say that we offer them two first-round picks. Who knows if that's real or not? That could be, Danny Ainge, that asshole, trying to, pump up the price. But I don't want Kessler. I don't think he's that good. I just don't. I mean, he was having he was playing 20-something minutes for a shit team last year. I think he's okay. And he got done. He got served by Edey the other day in Summer League. Yo, if he's that good, why is he playing Summer League right now?
Yeah.
You giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy who's in his 3rd year or 2nd year and he's playing in the Summer League? No, man. I don't want that. I don't want Nick Richards because everybody says that we'd have to give up Deuce to be able to get him. I love Sengun and I like Jalen Duren, but both of those two, the price is going to be too high. You're giving up. I mean, Sengun, people were calling him Baby Jokic last year. That guy is, listen, if you could get Sengun is nice. I remember the first time I saw him play in Summer League, I was like, yo, that kid can play. If you could somehow get him, but the price is going to be way too high. We just gave up a lot of picks.
Well, now suppose you had to give up a couple of first-round picks for Sengun.
Oh, for Sengun, I think you make that move for Sengun. Yeah, I mean, but then we really are in a situation where we have like almost no picks here in these next few years. If that's the case. But yeah, man, no. If for Sengun, yes, I think Sengun is worth that. I do not think Kessler is worth that any way, shape, or form. And especially if we can re-sign our guy Precious, I have faith in Thibodeau to coach these guys up. I think that your guy Sims is extremely motivated with this offseason, especially with all the talk about center. And obviously we've seen flashes from him before. Maybe this turns something on with him internally, and he's able to play with a little bit more fire. And he's got to get coached up to that next level as far as his defensive awareness. But, I got faith in Tibbs to coach up a Sims, to coach up, to get Precious in there and get him right with a full camp. And then obviously with Mitch, it's all about health. If Mitch could be healthy, then, this whole conversation is a lot less tenuous. But at the end of the day, man, when you look at this team, I don't want to reach for, one of these guys when I'd much rather, hey, depending on how things are going in the season, in December, maybe by the trade deadline, we make a move then for another big man if necessary, because I just don't want to I don't want to blow our load on, a Nick Richards or something like that. I just don't think that that's the move to make right now. We're a better team going into this season than we were going into last. And last year we had our second best player be injured for the entire second half of the season, and our third best player be in and out of the lineup, and we still ended up winning 50 games. Okay, so if we get some health, a little bit luck there, and we get the bump that adding Mikal Bridges gives you, then who knows what are we talking about? A 55, 60 win team, lots of ifs, lots of variables. Don't go out there and make some silly move for some guy who you want to be the guy but isn't that guy. And also with all these rumors, as soon as I hear it as a rumor, I automatically think it's bullshit, because when it comes to my guy Leon, the shit just drops and we never even heard of it before. So exactly, there's no leaks. So I do think that some of it is just Knicks for clicks, especially in the offseason. And I trust in Leon to do the right thing.
Do you believe Mikal Bridges and Marks from the Nets when they say that Mikal Bridges did not demand a trade? I believe
Absolutely
that. I do,
not.
Nick.
No, Ian Begley came out because Ian Begley was the one who said
who said it.
Right. And I saw somebody, commented at him about that. And he said, if you, what was the exact quote? He said something about if you believe that one, I got a bridge to sell you or something to that effect. And I can't see Marks or Bridges coming out and saying, Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Is he said that he wanted to go there, and therefore we were kind of that he had the leverage at that point, and so we had to look at making a move with the Knicks. I don't see Mark saying that, and Bridges, I don't see him coming out and saying, "Yeah, I did force the trade." I've never really heard a guy say that. So now it's been well known, according to many people, with other guys previously, as far as them demanding to go to a particular team. But I've never heard the guy actually confirm that. And I will say that Bridges did seem pretty genuine in the press conference when he said, "That's not the type of guy I am." I don't know. One of the reasons that I believe it is that I do over the years find Ian Begley to be a guy who's legit and is very trustworthy, and he does not seem like he's a guy who goes out there and tries to be bombastic or hyperbolic and try to like reach and grab for headlines. He seems to be pretty measured when it comes to his reporting.
Yeah, I mean, he usually is good, and he's been doing it for quite a while now. But I don't know. I tend to believe this kid, Mikal Bridges. Maybe he's got me hoodwinked with the nice smile and boyish charm, but he could be lying.
He could get he gotta get him a better barber though. His edge up is shaky.
He could stand to get an edge.
Hey, you could stand to get an edge up. Come on, man. You about to do your press conference at the Garden? What's good? And someone read somebody tweeted and they were like, "Yo, my man's shirt looked like he took it straight out the package and put it on."
Yeah, I don't know what that shirt was. Was that like a barber shirt? I mean,
it did look like a barber shirt. Yeah, yo,
100%.
Yeah, barber shirt and on a guy who clearly has not seen a barber recently.
Come on, man. Come on. What's his name? Josh Hart has to take him to his people. If he can get his hair braided that good, he knows some people who can do some hair.
Yeah, and I saw somebody making a comment saying about the fact that, see, that's what's great about this team is that when we don't care about, looking good and all the flashy stuff. All we care about is basketball and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, listen, Brunson's always got his shit tight. You know what I mean? Josh Hart's always got his shit tight.
But like especially like coming into the playoff games, Nick, you saw guys from other teams, Indiana most notably, wearing some silly attention-getting, look at me shit, and Brunson was just coming straight to business, and I'm hoping that that's the point that this person was making.
I know, but
we're not wearing some silly shit with sleeves this long, like your man Ben, Ben Forget Me Not, Ben Simmons, and
Halliburton.
And Halliburton wearing the Peabody glasses, the Where's Waldo shit.
Yeah, okay, I get all that. And I do love that our team is not super flashy, but, most of the guys on our team, honestly, other than maybe like Julius, typically keep a pretty tight edge up. And I think that Mikal could do the same. Come on, Mikal.
Oh,
come
100%. 100%. He's got.
And it's not like he's coming from some podunk town. He's been playing in Brooklyn the last couple of years. He could get a cut.
That's right.
He hasn't established a decent barber yet. Come on, man.
No matter where he is, he could have the best barber in the world come to his place. That's it.
Exactly. Jontay Porter, not a lot to say about this, man, but he did plead guilty to suspected wire fraud. In his statement, he said, this is something that was a little bit new. In his statement, he said he did it to get out of large gambling debt. That's
what happens when you're addicted to gambling.
Right. You're addicted to gambling. Yeah. And, some guys say, hey, man, you pull yourself out of the game and, you get the under. Again, the way that they thought that they were going to be able to make online bets around like large bets on Jontay Porter and that no one was going to notice is wild to me. The prosecutors estimate that this guy might get like 3.5 to 4 years off of this.
Okay, I got no problem with that. I mean, what he committed was a crime.
So stupid. Listen, first of all, if you're in huge gambling debt, rather than do this, if go to your brother and say, hey, brother, this is the situation I'm in. I clearly need some help. I need to go to some sort of Gamblers Anonymous or whatever. But if you can't help me out, I'm going to have to go ahead and start shaving points and get myself kicked out of the league and go to prison for 3.5 years. I mean, unless they are totally estranged and they have no relationship, because his brother makes enough money that this is like a week, whatever his biggest gambling debt could be, is like what this guy gets deposited in his account every 2 weeks. So it's just crazy, man. It's a sad story. And like I said, I don't have too much to say about it, but I did want to give a little update because we did talk about that back when it all first dropped.
Very sad, and he clearly has an addiction, a gambling addiction. I mean, to put his whole career and livelihood and future on the line for something like this is absolutely amazing and very, very sad. I can't imagine that if he had gone to his brother wouldn't have wanted to help simply for his own personal self-preservation. If I'm his brother, I don't want that. That's kind of a smear on him. I mean, it
Sure.
is your brother. So, yeah, I'm just surprised that he couldn't, he didn't come up with another way around that. But he's clearly a very stupid young man, and he made very stupid decisions. So there you go.
Yeah, just super sad. I don't know. Listen,
Stupid is
I
as
don't know.
stupid does.
I don't know enough about the law to, have an educated opinion on this. It doesn't necessarily seem like something that you should go away for 4 years for. I mean, Jesus, for just, I'm not talking about wire fraud in general, but specifically what he did. It doesn't seem like it's something that you should lose your freedom for 4 years. He lost his ability to play basketball at the highest level. If he pays back the money, he didn't even win that much money. So if he pays back a little bit of money that he won, is this something that you need to lose your freedom for 4 years? I don't know. Seems a little excessive to me. Whatever the case may be, I wish him the best of luck. I hope he's young, and it's one of those things that he can be somebody who's talking to guys at some point and explaining to them, how he went down this path, and hopefully from preventing others from doing it. But it's just so sad that he put himself in this situation. I mean, this young man had a chance to make tens of millions of dollars just by being an end of the bench player for the next however many years, and now he makes none of that money, and he could lose his freedom.
Yeah, it's very, very foolish. I don't think he'll get the whole 4 years, but he'll probably get a couple. And, hopefully a white collar crime like this, maybe he'll be at like a, club fed.
He's going to be destroying that league, whatever that league is. That way, it's going to be him against like some, like Bernie Madoff type, and he's just going to be doing them.
Exactly. No,
did you get a chance?
Man, I really don't have any sympathy. I don't have any sympathy for him. That's all I'm saying. Whatever it is, it is.
Yeah, I hear you. Did you get a chance to watch the exhibition between USA and Canada last night, or were you asleep, old man?
I did not. I did not. I totally forgot about it. I ended up falling asleep. But I read a little bit about it. Canada. Come on, seriously.
Canada's got a good chance of medal this year. They're pretty. I mean, like look at their team, Dad. They got a ton of NBA players. No, they're not compared to us, but they have a very solid team this year.
How did RJ look?
Well, RJ, let me save RJ because I got a little something extra for RJ. But let me first talk about Joel and Bitch. He sucks. Come on, man. Listen, somebody put up a low lights of him that he had a couple bad turnovers. He, some missed layups, and he even picked up an unsportsmanlike foul, which is what they call it in the international. He got a flagrant, He did some dirty shit in this game with this guy, man. I'm sorry. He sucks. I don't like him. I know he doesn't suck. He's a very good basketball player, but I've seen a lot of flack being thrown his way for even playing. Now, there's two different things here, Dad. There's two different things. So some people say, why doesn't he play for Cameroon? That I think is a weak argument. He went to high school here. He went to that 1 year college here. He's been here for 20 years now at this point. The guys, I have no problem with him playing here. But if I'm a Philly fan, I'm like, bro, you can't even stay on the court. You never can stay on the court. You've played 70 games one time in your career. Can you rest up? Can you go get some stem cells and be working on different things to retard injury moving forward, as opposed to playing in the Olympics when you're 31 and we've never made it out of the second round?
Nick, he's another one of those guys. Well, first of all, the whole injury thing, the fact that the Philly management is okay with it, I think is just stupid.
I don't think they have any say.
I would have to sit Embiid down and say, as a team, we seriously discourage you from doing this. And then when he gets hurt, come on, man. He's been hurt way too much. He needs to be in better shape, Nick. That's the fact of the matter. He needs to be.
Well, maybe playing all summer will put him in better shape.
No, but you know what, Nick? He needs to eat better. He needs to be in better shape. He's overweight for what he does, and that has to play a part in his lower body injuries, man.
I don't think he's overweight. Why do you think he's overweight, then?
Nick, I think
it's not like Luka. When I look at him, I don't see like Luka.
No. I was watching.
I think he's got a flat stomach.
I was watching something where Gilbert Arenas was talking about it, right? And Gilbert said, and I thought he made a really good point. Joel Embiid is in, maybe make it through the season good shape. Maybe make it to the first round good shape. He's not in finals good shape. He's not in conference finals good shape. That's where it gets to the nitty gritty, and you got to be in really good shape to get that far. Yeah, he gets some stupid little injuries. He needs to be in better shape to retard injuries, Nick. As much as he gets knee injuries and lower body injuries, weight is part and parcel to all of that. Especially a big guy like that, it is in his best interest to really trim down as much as he can. While he'll still be a very large man, he has a large stature. It would be better if he was just carrying a little less weight. And like I said, I think if I was a Philly fan, I'd be losing my mind. And I just want to raise my hand here so everyone knows. Okay, here. Everyone knows that I was number one on the anti-Embiid camp years ago, right or wrong.
You're number one on anti-Embiid, and I've never really liked his act, but I've had respect for his game. I lost.
Nick, there were a couple years ago where you're like, if the Knicks could trade for Embiid, you got to do it. And I was like,
listen, his game, Dad, the guy's an MVP candidate.
He's a loser.
He won MVP 2 seasons ago. Last year, when he got hurt, he was the runaway MVP at that time. And I just personally think that his game is kind of undeniable, but the injury issue is definitely an issue. And then the shit he pulled against the Knicks this past year in the playoffs, I've lost all respect for him. I don't care what you do, how good you are. If that's how you conduct yourself and carry yourself, I want nothing to do with you. I don't ever want to see you in orange and blue. So that's my change on that. But I mean, as far as his impact on the game when he's on the floor, I think that's hard to deny. I mean, the guy was playing on one leg and killed us.
He's a very good player, Nick. He's a very good player. But I will tell you this too. He played very well against us in a couple of those games, right? Mm-hmm. Nick, I think if he's healthy, he's not playing that. He's not in those games where he played really well against us. Now, mind you, he probably would have played really well against us in every game if he was healthy, right? But those games where he played really well against us, would he have done much more? I don't think he would have done much more.
Right.
I just think he's a loser person, man. I don't want him anywhere near my team. I don't want him anywhere near my team, my children, my grandchildren. I don't want him anywhere near me. Just get him out. If I had a tool, I was just looking around to see if there was any sort of tool near the table because I want to hold that up as a visual aid that this man is a tool.
Speaking of RJ Barrett's performance, I think that can be summed up by Nelly X Tyne. I'll throw the tweet up on the on the actual video so people can see it. But I sent this to you. It cracked me up when I read it. RJ driving to the basket, full speed, and turning it over. Man, I miss him. I watched that play with RJ, and I saw it. And I was like, yo, that's RJ right there, baby. Just full steam ahead, like he's got it all going, and then just getting stripped or throwing a ball up that doesn't even draw iron.
Right.
I got a lot of love for RJ.
With his chest out
and making a face like this, like looking at the ref and going like this.
Right.
I thought that was funny, man. I wish RJ the best of luck, but I'm so glad that we have OG over him. And he's a good player on that team. And like I said, man, they got some talent on that Canadian team. I think that they are favored to medal, and it's going to be interesting watching the Olympics this year. Our team, it's like when watching the game last night. When we're passing the ball and we're playing defense, they're just unstoppable. I mean, everybody can do everything. Your guy Anthony Edwards is hitting step back daddies. You got oops from Curry to LeBron. They're running the floor. They're getting in passing lanes. And you know what I will say? And this is going to be shocking to you or anybody else who listens to this show because of the two players involved. Tyrese Halliburton is a better fit for that team than Jalen Brunson would have been.
A better fit. Oh, for the Olympic team. Yeah.
Yes, because they have enough guys who can score, and obviously that's Brunson's best attribute. And so Halliburton being a guy who is looking to pass, I mean, he almost doesn't want to shoot. Especially, we saw some of that in the playoffs against the Knicks, and then everybody got on him, and all of a sudden the next game he wants to shoot. But in this game in particular, you could see he was really trying to get other guys involved. Obviously, he's a lot bigger, so on defense that makes him, more of a threat than Brunson is. And, they don't need another scorer on that team. They need a guy who can distribute. And then also, obviously, with the broken hand, Brunson was not going to participate anyway. And I am just fine with him and all of the rest of the Knicks resting, chilling, working on themselves, working on their bodies, and coming in October rearing to go.
Yeah, the Embiid thing, it's just, come on, man. That doesn't make any sense why he's playing. I don't get it, man. I mean, the Kawhi stepping down made perfect sense to me. I'm glad for him he did. I heard Grant Hill talk about it. He was saying how, this is the best thing for Kawhi, best thing for U.S. basketball, and best thing for the Clippers. So clearly the Clippers played a part in this decision. You know what I'm saying? I don't see how the Clippers are playing a part in the decision with Kawhi, but yet the Sixers can't talk anything about Embiid. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think they can weigh in, but I don't think that they can force him not to. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
And maybe they did weigh in. Who knows? I did see a hilarious meme, and it was a picture of Kawhi. He's sitting there. He's got his hands in his pockets. It looks like he's got his braids out, and he's got the USA jersey on. So I guess it was when he was talking to the media after having to withdraw. And the caption underneath said, "If I send you this, just know I'm not going to make
it." Kawhi. Well, good
Make
for him,
sure,
man. Smart.
Yeah, best for him. He's one of the most disappointing superstars ever. I mean, just as far as everything that you would love to be able to see him do, and the great player that we've seen him be. I mean, he's got 2 final MVPs under his belt, but he just hasn't been able to stay on the floor, and it's a shame. And it's just a shame because as basketball fans, we would love to see as much as we can because that guy is one of the best two-way players I've ever seen in my life. Pete Kawhi.
Yeah, he just didn't do it for long enough, I don't think. But I mean, he'll be a Hall of Famer, all that stuff.
2 Finals MVPs get you in the Hall of Fame for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see with the Olympics. It's like Olympics is the only time where I don't want to see any sort of close games. I want the U.S. to just blow out everybody because if people are even close, it's it's a bad look for us. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you hit that like, tell all your friends, give us a subscribe, and follow us on all platforms. We are trying to retire the big guy from his day job, and every little bit counts. With Bronny James being drafted to the Lakers, the conversation of top father-son duo has been coming up, and who better to weigh in on this than the top father-son duo in news sports media. So, big guy, top 3 father-son duos in sports all time. Who you got?
Wow. So, I mean, I thought about this, and yeah, of course you can name the regulars, your Del Curry and Steph and, stuff like that. Bron and Bronny, no. But there are a lot of the Griffeys, all that. I went at it from a different angle. I want to throw a couple at you that I think might surprise you, actually, and some that you might not even be familiar with. The first I'm going to bring up is Dwayne and Grant Hill. Do you know who Dwayne Hill is?
So hold on, you're descending, right? This is your number 3.
Yes, this is number 3. Sorry, this is number 3. Dwayne and Grant Hill. You know who Dwayne Hill is?
Yeah, he was he's like a running back for the Cowboys or something like that.
Yes,
right?
He was very good in his time, Nick. He was very good. He was a good running back, good blocker, good guy, and of course his son Grant, especially for what he did in Duke and what he's done, what he did in the pros. Unfortunately, injuries shortened his career. And his post-playing career has been fantastic. He's an ambassador for the league. He runs USA Basketball now, pretty much. I'm a big fan.
One of the best barbers in the game.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Mikal, just talk to Grant.
When I saw Grant Hill during the pandemic, and he got on some sort of Zoom, and I saw him, and he clearly had not, seen his barber recently. It was jarring to see him with needing a cut.
Yeah. No, it's alarming. Okay. Now this one. I'm sure you've heard of, but I don't think you quite remember. But 2 good players and somewhat obscure. Jimmy Walker and Jalen Rose. Did you know Jalen Rose's father was a pro? Jimmy Walker.
Yes, not in his life. Not in his life.
He wasn't in his life.
Yeah,
but
he
wasn't
didn't
his
have.
dad.
But he was his dad. Okay, that's a good one.
Jimmy Walker. That's a good one, right? That's a different one. Okay, and then the other one that I would be surprised if you don't come up with this. Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes.
You
Okay.
know, his dad was a good
Yeah.
reliever with the Mets back in the day. And I mean, come on, the son has a chance to be the GOAT, Nick, in football.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
just threw those out there, a little change of pace.
okay. Okay. Listen, all very interesting, definitely some things to think about. No one's going to agree with you on, on a couple
No,
of
no,
those,
top three, no.
but if you for me, I looked at it, and my top three, number three, I go with the Manning family. You
Of
have
course.
Archie, who made 2 Pro Bowls. Peyton, he's on many people's quarterback Mount Rushmore, 14-time Pro Bowler, 5-time MVP, only quarterback to win a championship with 2 different franchises,
Yeah.
and 4-time Pro Bowler. Obviously, the 2 championships, but then oh no, that's then
Eli.
you go and you look at Eli, and he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's got the 2 Super Bowl championships. He beat one of the greatest teams of all time. I think also with them, you have to look at the fact that you talk about post-career. Both of the Manning sons have done great. They've even incorporated their dad in it, and they got a chance to go third generation because you got Arch Manning now coming in and being a top quarterback prospect at Texas. And, who knows when they're going to go ahead and give him the keys. But I would have to go with the Mannings at number 3. Number 2, I got Bobby and Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
So Bobby, he became the second player ever to record 300 home runs and 300 stolen bases, following the great Willie Mays, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner. I mean, Barry, as we know, he has all the numbers, though many of his stats are viewed as fraudulent to some due to the alleged PED uses. But the thing with him is, as many people have pointed out, he basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers. If you even take away all the stuff after the PED time, he was still a Hall of Famer off those original numbers. 14-time All-Star, 8 gloves, all-time leader in home runs, hit 73 in one season, which is the most, and he's the all-time leader in walks and intentional walks. There's so many crazy stats with Bonds where it's like, this guy did this and it sounds good. Well, Barry Bonds would have to strike out like the next 500 times in a row for them to even be on the same page. So to me, I think that one has to go. Those 2 have to go number 2. And then number 1 for me is the Griffeys. Senior was a part of one of the most beloved teams of all time, the Big Red Machine. He's a lifetime 296 hitter, 3-time All-Star. Junior, 13-time All-Star, 7th all-time in home runs with 630, 10 Gold Gloves. He's the best center fielder that I've ever seen in my entire life. Andrew Jones, a close second. He has that 1 MVP, and all of that despite fighting injuries a lot in the second half of his career after he went to the Reds. And it is assumed by almost everybody that he was totally clean, and he's never had any PED allegations. Now, to me, what makes them number 1, which is the thing that's so cool about Bronny going to the Lakers, is that they played together.
Yeah.
We have those great clips forever of Griffey stealing the fly ball from him when Griffey's in center and Bobby was in left field, him running in front and Bobby putting his hands on him and looking at him. We know that they hit back-to-back home runs. I'm sorry, not Bobby, Senior, looking at him. But we know that they hit back-to-back home runs in a game. I just think that that's super cool, man. The Griffeys, both Senior and Junior, the fact that they got to play together, that is a you got to give the props to Senior for being able to stick around for that long, and then also Junior for being able to come up that early and be able to make that happen. So that's why I have them as the all-time number 1 duo. Now, honorable mentions. In football specifically, the Longs and the Matthews.
Yes.
Both the Long family and the Matthews family have, some Pro Bowls amongst them, some championships amongst them, some MVPs amongst them, or at least Defensive Player of the Years. And so I definitely thought that they should be honorable mention. And then the next question is the up next. And I got a few people that, we're looking at now. Listen, Dion and his sons, Shiloh and Shador, depending on what they do. You got the Guerreros.
Shiloh, I don't think so, but Shador, yes, that could be very interesting.
But it's just like, okay, but Shiloh can be the Seth Curry of the family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Shador's going to be that guy.
I think Shador is going to be that guy. And then, if Shiloh's able to have a decent career in the NFL, then, he'll be part of the equation as well. And then the Guerreros, Senior, 9-time All-Star, Junior, 3-time All-Star, still plenty of, career in front of him. The Harrisons, Marvin, one of the greatest receivers of all time. And then you got Junior just now getting into the league and being, the top receiver taken, one of the best college receivers I've ever seen. And we can see what he could do. LeBron's got a chance, though nobody's expecting Bronny to be any all-time great player. But if he's able to become a great role player, if they're able to win a championship this year and he's able to be somewhat of a contributor, that would be, really, really cool and something that would immediately put them in the conversation, though many people, including myself, think those things are unlikely. And last but not least, man, when we're talking about honorable mentions and we're talking about all-time father-son duos, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Brunsons. The Brunsons,
That's what I was just about to say. Rick and Jalen, let's go.
Let's go. Come on. As the original and the only Rick Brunson stan, and the guy whose son gives a handshake and two of these to his Jalen Brunson fat head, bought by his grandfather, by the way. Every day when he leaves his room. Come on, man. I gotta throw the Brunsons in there, and especially Jalen. You bring a championship to the Garden, that immediately makes y'all number one in my book.
Number one, absolutely, yeah. Jalen's my guy, and it's funny because when you were saying that, I was just thinking, okay, when he's done, I got to bring up the Brunsons. So yeah, you took it right out of my mouth.
Pause. Catch every week on YouTube. Catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. You can find us on all socials at he_did_this-to-me. Hey, congrats, James and Harriet. Love you, big guy.
Love you, kid.
What was that?
I don't know. You want to redo that part? I don't know. I was
we're leaving this all in.
Who is James and Harriet? But then I remembered it's your voice. And this weekend, I was like, James and Harriet. You threw me.
No, we're leaving this all in.
Okay.